Hi everyone, and welcome to the recording about the second assignment in which you are all asking for, or there's some people been asking for, on the discussion board. First of all, let's have a look at what you're required to do. So in the subject outline, it says it's due on the 4th of October. It's about 2,000 words, appendix not included, so you can include documents and things like that, or the table that Adele Miles shows you how to do in the first recording, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then you can submit it via EASTS, obviously. So what we're looking for here is a report, a formal report that gets you to look at a couple of different areas. We're looking for you to select one of the topics below, just in this area here, and I suspect most people will have done that. And using the library search tools, you're going to find some research and some documentation about this. Now we're going to talk a bit more about what documentation is in a minute. And so to help you, I've prepared these two documents that I'll be putting up on the Interact site this afternoon, but I thought I would talk about them. So here's the first one. This will tell you how to what I'm created to help you understand what you should be doing. So here we go. Select a topic. You can use Google to help you find information from credible websites, and Adele Miles has done a second recording for you all so that you can be shown how to use grey literature, or find and assess whether grey literature is credible, as well as websites. Then you're going to read your literature thoroughly and write a review in a way of what you found, and write recommendations. So let's have a look here. Now, some of the questions that people may have had are, what are cultural competence principles? And what we want you to do here is to think about, and here it is here. So from here on, this will help you understand this. Cultural competence is defined as the skills, behaviours and attitudes of individuals that shape a worldview and have the capacity to influence clinicians' approach to care, and thus impact patients' experiences of healthcare. And thank you, that's Dr. Jess Biles is helping me with that, as she's an expert in cultural safety and cultural competence. Factors that we're looking for, things such as personal attributes, cultural awareness, diversity, dignity, respect, and being mindful are the sort of capabilities or principles that you can look at. You can also use ethical principles, so the ethical principles that are on in the modules, you can think about how they might apply, and you can use registered nurse standards and codes of conduct. So here's the format. So there's going to be an introduction, and where you're going to introduce the topic and provide a summary. The background, you'll explain a bit about the background, but you're not going to be discussing and analysing it here. You might discuss, talk about the culture a bit, just to give people information about who you might be talking about. Then you're going to go into your analysis section, and where you're going to review and analyse the literature you have found to build your recommendations. So it's in this section you'll be discussing how the principles or variables that you have thought about that you could link to the topic would apply here. So for example, there may be some things about communication for people that are for people who may end-of-life care for Indigenous Australians, which I can see that somebody has put on the discussion board. So communication and being mindful around communication would be a good way to link that cultural competence variable there. Also, things like dignity, things like that you would link in here. Okay. You would also maybe look at the codes of conduct and have a look at see if there's anything there that you could link. Then you're going to use dot points or numerals to state a number of recommendations and a rationale, which you've normally talked about in the analysis. And then the conclusion is the conclusion of your paper and summarizes the key points in your words. So no new information, ideas, or authors. Now, we've had a discussion about this, and while peer-reviewed papers are really good, we've found some terrific stuff from other grey literature sources on these topics. So you can use government literature and other grey literature, and I've got some information there for you. You might use policies and procedures, but make sure you don't just use policies and procedures. You want more than that. Because remember, you're going to be a registered nurse, not just somebody who follows a recipe of policy. So we want you to think about this again. So we want, you might use credible websites, which Adele has shown you. So firstly, look at the first recording that Adele has done, and then you will see I'll link the new recording that she has done for you yesterday. We've got some great information on the AIHW site, which will provide demographic and prevalence related information that will go well in your background area. All right. If you need to approach the body, read the background section. So that's really useful here. So think about what you looked at in the articles for your first assignments, and that is just new as you've just had them returned. Read the literature review chapter of your text and the final chapter, which is 13, which will help, has a section on writing journal articles and helps you work out what you need to do to write a report. There's going to be some assistance for you for this as well. Use the discussion to ask questions, and they'll be answered now that the first assignment's finished. We'll have a great deal more time to get on and answer that and be really able to give you a lot of help. The other thing is that there's going to be some live chat sessions. There'll be no teaching, but these are for you to come along and ask questions. If you don't come, Sharon Laver will be there, but they won't be recorded because there's no point recording Sharon sitting there by herself. Alrighty, so there are 2 sessions, 7:15 till 7:45 on Monday evening, and Wednesday morning from 10 till 10:30. Okay, and they should give you a real hand. Now, to give you a further hand, we're going to look through an assignment here. So you're going to have your title page in your assignment, obviously, and this has been de-identified. So this is talking about this is on a different topic than what you've got. This is about non-English speaking backgrounds and those with gynecological malignancy. So this was about care for cancer patients from a non-English speaking background and what would you need to do. And this person has particularly looked at gynecological malignancies. Now this is a very nice pass paper, but I did not choose a distinction for you this time. I chose a high pass, close to a credit. So this is something that you'll be able to look at and see that you can achieve this. So you can see there's some lovely signposting in here. And here's the background. Now this is a bit shorter than what you're being asked to do because this paper was I think 1500, and as we've just had a look, yours is 2000. Okay, so so please remember that when you're looking at this paper, that this is a bit shorter. The student's gone over a little bit, but that's okay. So that you can see, and you can go through this background. So you might have a slightly longer background because you've got more words, and your analysis might be stronger here because you've got more words. Okay, now there's the analysis here talking about the issues that the student found in the literature. And then if we look down here, we've got some recommendations. So here we go. After review of the articles, here we go. So as you see here, so accessible many written material in the client's own language. Many organisations have information sheets available. So see, this is the recommendation in bold, and here we have the rationale. Again, ensure high quality interpretation services, and again the rationale. So so you can see recommendation, rationale, and that's what they've done. All right, now and then we have a conclusion. Alrighty, so they're the sort of things that we'd be looking to get you to have in your paper as well. But so there's some things that we want to, I'll bring up that were on the forum that we can look at, that we can talk further about. So firstly, cultural safety variables. So go back and have a look at the work that you've done in 212 and have a think about this. In terms of recency, if you can find documentation within the last 10 years, that would be valuable. If you are choosing an older resource, you need to write a justification for that. Okay, so please don't make it much older, but up to 10 years we're going to accept from this for this assignment this time. What else is on the forum? There's some questions about structure, which I think I've covered in this tutorial here. So the Adele's first online recording is available in the online meeting recording section of your Interact site, and I'll show you where that is now so that you're all really clear about that, because maybe there are some of you who don't go there. So if we pop down here into online meeting, so there are the schedule, but if you come down here you will see that here's where you go into Adele's tutorial, and I'll put another link up for that as well. Now some people will not need an appendix. All right, so in the assignment that I've shown you here, the person did not use an appendix. They've just got a reference list. Okay, now you might have an appendix because you actually may want to attach for example documentation associated with it. Don't make them too big or too long, because obviously we've got to read them. But say if you find a really useful document from a website, you can attach that as long as it's not too long, but make sure you also put in your reference list. Okay, some people put their search terms in there. That's what some people would like to do, and some people found that helpful last time. Sorry. Now, I've talked a little bit about ethical principles and cultural competency. So if you go and have a look at what cultural competency and cultural safety mean, and you've done a subject on that, either as an enrolled nurse and you've received credit for it here because you've done it elsewhere, or you've actually undertaken the subject here, so you'll be able to go back and have a look at that information and see what cultural competence variables are. If you're talking about one of the less traditional, say you're looking at the blood transfusion for people who practice their Christianity as Jehovah's Witnesses, which is the where's the topics. I'll get back to that. Then you're going to use some principles, like say, because I know that the one particular group, Jehovah's Witnesses, do have an objection based out of some biblical teaching to transfusion of blood products, and you will find quite a lot of grey literature,